Coming up on this episode of The Sword.
I think love is like a feeling of home. Like when you're in it and you find someone you love, you feel warm and you feel comforted.
It's Valentine's Day. We take a look at what love is all about. We learn a bit about the history of Valentine's Day while learning how to make crepes. All that and more coming up on this episode of The Sword. Welcome, Cavaliers, to this brief Valentine's Day edition of The Sword, Kennedy High School's news magazine show. I'm your host, Akilah Lewis. Love is in the air. As winter begins its thaw into spring, hearts begin to warm as well. But amongst the flowers, cards, candies, and commercialism of Valentine's Day, there's something deeper, something more. KCTV's Elizabeth Cruz asked the question, what is love?
It is that time of the year again, when everybody gets cuddly, sweet, and bubbly inside. Hearts are displayed everywhere, and the color red creates a romantic mood. Then the question comes, what is love?
Love is a mutual understanding between two people. It's like give and take, right? You listen to the other person listens to you.
They treat each other differently than they treat the rest of the world.
Everybody has somebody who loves them.
When you're in it and you find someone you love, you feel warm and you feel comforted.
Like when you get lightheaded, you know how you get that like feeling if you stand up too fast and like your whole head just goes woo wonky, like swimming and stuff. That, but nicer.
Love is a strong, positive emotion that you have when you have a deep affection for another person. Some of the positive effects can be, feeling a sense of security, feeling happier, feeling a sense of belonging that you may not have felt before. And then some negative ones could be like jealousy.
How do people react when they're in love?
Love can make you want to sacrifice more for that individual than you would typically, which is a really good thing, depending on how much you're sacrificing of yourself. We can be naturally desire people or have different qualities that we're attracted to. And that often comes from like your personal background. But when it comes to choosing whether or not to give your heart to somebody, to become vulnerable with that person in order to fall in love, that is a choice.
Finding your true love can be very exciting, but it's also a commitment. Does this remain true for teens though? Can teens really experience true love?
Teen love can be real in a sense. I mean, we hear about people who have found their high school sweethearts and they're married forever. So yes, I think that teens can fall in love with one another, but it's really about finding your experiences as a teen and knowing what a relationship is that you want.
High school relationships are difficult because they are just learning how to love, but it can also blossom into something amazing.
I don't really think it depends on age. I think it more depends on like your maturity level.
Just because someone is inexperienced doesn't mean that their relationship is not valid. And I think that teenage relationships, it's great practice. The actual emotion of love is just so, it's so comforting. And that I think that a lot of people just could really use that comfort.
I think that everybody needs to experience that. And like I said, like it's something that, you hear this all the time. And then, you sometimes start to wonder like, oh wow, maybe I should go find love, but like, it sort of finds you first. You know what I mean? Like it kind of just happens, and then like all of a sudden you're in it, and you're like, whoa, okay, maybe I really like this person more than I thought.
In Silver Spring, I'm Elizabeth Cruz for KCTV.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Everyone loves a good origin story. How did Valentine's Day come to be? Josiah Landham looked at the history of Valentine's Day and makes a mighty fine crepe in the process.
Yo,
I'm pink, that's red, and as the title card said, it's Valentine's Day, and we making crepes. The recipe's simple. You're making watery pancakes minus the baking soda. Or powder. In a bowl, sift 1 cup of flour. Then add 1 to 3 tablespoons of sugar and a couple pinches of salt. We'll sacrifice this bowl to the she-wolf Lupa, who raised the demigods and eventual founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus. Now, in another bowl, crack and beat 2... That could segue into a very inappropriate joke. Crack and beat 2 eggs, then pour just over 1 1/2 cups of milk or water, and stir. We'll sacrifice this bowl to the god of forest and fertility, Faunus, who looks like the taller and more muscular version of Phil from Hercules, who I can't show because of copyright, so you get this version instead. Now we can combine these sacrifices and give them to Lupa. Or Faunus. And who knows? Either way, happy Lupercalia! Today, fellow Romanians, we're going to be celebrating both spring and fertility by offering up crepes instead of dogs and goats. Because the god of fertility would likely prefer them.
Shut up.
Okay. Cream sauce. Pay attention now, because this gonna go quick. Simmer 2 cups of milk, crack 3 egg yolks, crack 1 egg, add 1 1/4 cups of sugar, mix, add 3 tablespoons cornstarch, mix, add a tablespoon of vanilla, mix, spoon simmered milk into egg and mix, continue till soupy, pour soupy egg milk into real milk, stir constantly, stir till thick, take off heat, put in fridge, take a couple minutes century-long break.
And now, a brief history.
The ruler of Rome, Tiberius Claudius Cascar Augustus Germanius, said,
"No, marriage is making my soul this wicked."
and banned marriage. But St. Valentine said,
But marriage is awesome, bro.
and continued marrying couples in secret. He was thrown in jail when the emperors of Rome, Tiberius Claudius Cascar Germanius, found out. In jail, he met the daughter of his jailer, a blind girl. He was cured of her blindness, and then he was executed by the emperor and ruler of rulers, Tiberius Claudius Cascar Augustus Germanius. In St. Valentine's cell, there was a note that he had given to the now not blind girl. It read, "From your Valentine."
Now back to our regularly scheduled program. Ba-da-ba-ba.
Flash forward to 1831 and our cream sauce is finally chilled and ready. Also, there's this dude named Geoffrey Flying Chaucer going around and telling people to replace the word lover with Valentine in their cheesy romantic serenades. Songs, poetry, paintings, burning heretics at the stake should all be signed by the name Valentine instead of lover, because that's more romantic. And by the end of the 15th century, it was. And by the end of the 19th century, things like cards, paintings, songs, candy, roses, and other romantic sugar had become highly commercialized. Now, like Flying Chaucer, I too would like to start a trend. The trend of making crepes with vanilla cream and strawberries on Valentine's Day morning. Holding your lover close, but not too close, because we're still in a panoramic. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date with Bleach's spot at work. Again.
That does it for this episode of The Sword. Do you have an idea for a story that might be good for the show? Use the link on the screen to submit your idea. Stay social with KCTV. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for the latest information and updates. Join us next time for another great episode of The Sword.